I wrote this many years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago now, and when I first wrote it, I put it out on a YouTube channel that didn't get any attention, only had this one video, and only ever got 3 views. If I remember correctly, 1 or 2 of those were my own. I've also written the accompanying music. What you're about to listen to is a little bit weird, and I really hope you enjoy it. The Odd Case of Trevor A soft knock shook the door to my office. "Come in," I shouted. The head doctor at the hospital, Chris, poked his head into the room. "Hey, I've got Trevor Mistoplis with me for his appointment, if you're ready to take him," Chris said, while shooting the window behind me a concerned glance. A teenager I assumed was Trevor pushed his way into the room, walked to my couch, and sat, carrying with him a sketch pad and a paintbrush he held between his teeth. His posture was stiff, only relaxing slightly to sit. There was a lot to read about Trevor, a schizophrenic who entered the hospital after gouging a girl's eyes out at recess. Trevor's paperwork filled a 3-inch binder spanning over a decade and covered everything from his love of art to his seasonal psychosis. His documentation showed a long history of previous therapists, doctors, and psychiatrists giving up on him or finding themselves. "I'll guess I'll leave you two to it," Chris spoke, giving me a reassuring nod. The door closed behind him with a soft click. I turned to Trevor, who now just stared blankly into the floral patterns of my office curtains. I walked to an armchair near him and took a seat. "Hi, Trevor. How you doing this evening?" My question hung in the air, with Trevor only pulling his eyes from the curtains to give a blank look at my chair. "Okay, well, I heard you were having trouble with negative thoughts lately. Could we talk about that?" This time, Trevor's eyes darted up to meet mine. "I don't really want to talk with you," Trevor said through the paintbrush he was chewing. I didn't quite know how to respond to it, so I just pressed on with the session. "I heard you're having trouble with depression," I questioned. "You aren't listening to me. I don't want to talk with you." "And what am I supposed to do with that? I'm supposed to be helping you." I tried to say it as calmly as possible, but I could feel frustration well up in my chest. "You couldn't help me. And why is that?" Trevor shifted his gaze to the curtains, but his body moved so little I could have imagined he was made of granite. "Not even the medicine could help me." "Well, the medicine is only part of it. Therapy's another part. Talking with you won't make the paper people go away." "The paper people? Those are hallucinations, I assume." "Yes." Trevor stared through me into the distance. "Okay, well, have you told any of the other doctors about them?" "Yes." "And what did they say?" "The medication is supposed to make them go away." He suddenly stepped back into himself, moving his head so that his eyes met mine. I saw his body relax. "They increased my dose, but the people won't go away." "Why do you think you're seeing these hallucinations?" Trevor's posture straightened a bit. "I painted them wrong, and they got upset." "I see you brought your sketch pad with you. Can you show me what they look like?" He grabbed his sketch pad and flipped through a few pages before stopping on one and handing it to me. A gnarled gray figure with a blue colored paper face, stapled over its own face, stared at me from the page. Its eyes were scarily realistic. Trevor was staring at the curtains once again, and I saw them shudder out of the corner of my eye. "You can close the window if you'd like, Trevor." Trevor shook his head. He seemed disturbed by something, so I decided to try and hand him back his sketchbook. I thought that the familiarity might soothe him in some way, but he refused. "No, I don't want it back. Keep it." "You don't want it back, are you sure?" "Yes." "Well, thank you. You're a very talented artist. They tell me that I'm not good at much else." Trevor fell silent, staring into the curtains as if they would suddenly part and reveal to him some unknown truth about his own existence. I stared with him as the curtains once again shuddered from the wind, hoping to find some semblance of reason in his persistent gaze. I traced the lines in the curtain to a bunched patch near the separation. "Now you know what they look like," Trevor muttered. The bunched area in the curtain smoothed, and the break in the curtain parted slightly. A gray appendage curled its way through the gap, peeling back the curtain to reveal the edge of a blood-stained blue paper. The figure crept forth, fully emerging from the curtains. "Now you can see them." The figure moved toward Trevor, yet its sunken yellow eyes remained fixed on me. Light streams of blood fell from the staples holding on its color-splotched mask and pooled on the floor. Its chest heaved to let out a breath. Trevor began to tremble as the monster inched to stand above him. Blood dripped onto the boy's shoulder. "Now you can help me." The vile thing reached for Trevor, and I stood to meet it, grabbing the leathery flesh of its arm. Its frail frame didn't give much resistance as I shoved it away from us, sending it tumbling into the wall below the window. A creak rang out behind me. I turned, expecting some new monster, but it was just Chris. I expected him to scream or cry out at the bloodstained carpet and the disheveled demon I had fended off, but he just shot Trevor a concerned look and turned to me. "Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just want to let you know that Nurse Daniels is taking some of the patients to grab some ice cream from the truck when it rolls around, and she thought it'd be good for Trevor to get out for a while." His words stood for a moment before dissipating. Another sound startled me. Trevor. "Yeah, that sounds fun." Trevor's demeanor had changed entirely. His posture was confident and loose, his tone was steady, and the blood had fled his clothing. He seemed normal, and he was quick to dash away from our session. "Thanks, I'll see you next week," he shouted as he swung open the door and left my room. My mind was still reeling as I tried to figure out what had just happened. "Are you okay?" Chris questioned, and his eyes locked with mine. I'm not sure. Trevor's always been a bit tough nut to crack, but he seems to like you." "I guess. There was something happened. The curtains, I just couldn't get the words to come together in any meaningful way." Chris walked over to the window. "No, wait." I could barely get the words out. "It was just the wind." Chris slammed the window and locked it. He turned to me concerned. "We've only got like an hour left on the day. Why don't you take the rest of the afternoon off? You seem like you could do with the rest." The walk home was pregnant with some indescribable tension. A storm was rolling in, and the winds it created threatened to blow away the events of the past hour. It happened. I knew it did. I saw it. I could still feel the leathery skin of that thing. I looked into its eyes. What the fuck? I'd been going crazy. I'm probably just overworked, or maybe just worn down from trying to help people through their problems. It felt like the glowing, iridescent street lamps were watching me. I clutched Trevor's notebook a little tighter as I started to jog home. A light drizzle settled over me. Even the sound of my own fridge was enough to make me jump that night when I closed the damn thing. The electric hum it gave off was just enough to mask whatever horrors lurked around a few corners of my small apartment. I clicked on the TV and pressed my body into a comfortable crevasse on the couch. Soon, the monotonous drone of a long outdated documentary drove the thought of today's session out of my head. The sun started to set with the rain picking up a bit, so I decided it was time for some sleep. After changing to something more comfortable, I climbed into bed. Some light music played in the background as I tried to soothe some sleep into me. It wasn't easy. The air was tight with humidity from the falling rain, and my mattress was soon soaked with sweat. I shifted around for a while trying to find a cool spot that I knew wouldn't be there. I rolled to my right and tapped my phone to silence the music. I was determined to sleep through my discomfort. Then I rolled to the left, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw my curtain shudder.